what is Keto S Pro? Essentially, it is the first ketone-infused protein on the market that's actually low calorie. And in fact, what's so exciting about it is if you look at a ketogenic diet itself, to get protein, to have enough protein to optimize muscle health, to have ratios that are important, you're essentially gonna have calories very high, like 500, 600, 700 calories. What we figured out is how to have a smaller amount of protein, but infuse it with the amino acids that are most important for muscle health to keep calories down to under 100. Now on top of that, Keto S Pro also supports things like mitochondrial function. It improves recovery, again, muscle health, strength, power, everything you can think of to optimize your lifestyle. What I actually like to do is utilize Keto Nat OS before exercise, okay, because that gives you energy and it gives you some of the important amino acids that support muscle. But after you exercise, you've broken those muscles down and they need to be repaired. For that, you need all of the essential amino acids, and Nat is essentially what Keto S Pro gives you. So again, I like Keto Nat before exercise, and then I like the Keto S Pro after exercise for repair. Essentially, mitochondria fuels everything, right? It's very important for fat metabolism, for energy, for brain function. And essentially, mitochondria, in order to grow, to get bigger, get stronger, they need to be challenged energetically. The mitochondria actually produce energy, right? Most people, they're sitting down, not doing anything, they're eating a bunch of carbohydrates. Tons of energy is coming to the cells, and the mitochondria go, well, you're giving me a bunch of energy, why do I need to produce it? And they get smaller and smaller in number. Well, what's really interesting is that essentially, Keto S Pro comes in and it stimulates an interesting process called protein synthesis. Now, protein synthesis is basically the process that occurs when we build hair, when we build muscle, when we build new proteins inside of tissue. Guess what? When you're building something, it requires what? Energy. And when you're using energy, you stress the mitochondria, and the mitochondria run out of energy, and then they go, whoa, I'm gonna have to increase more mitochondria to keep up with this demand. Keto OS Pro does exactly that. It stresses the mitochondria, makes it work even without working out, and makes it more healthy. Now, I will tell you, working out combined with Keto S Pro will optimize the system, but absolutely can be used without working out. Most proteins on the market, they're not keto. That's the first thing. They're on their own, okay? They raise amino acids up very high, they stimulate insulin at a very high level, and then they're down again. And they don't necessarily support a keto lifestyle. In fact, very high loads of protein essentially sometimes kick people out of ketosis. So what we had to do when we were formulating this was give enough protein so we didn't kick you out of ketosis, but also so we could formulate it to the optimal keto ratio. That's the first thing, right? The second thing is that not only are you getting the optimal amount of protein to stimulate muscle health, right, and total body function, but on top of that, Keto S Pro sustains ketosis, one, by giving exogenous ketones, but it also promotes internal endogenous ketone production. Now, what's interesting about that? In essence, what you're doing by elevating ketones, they protect the actual protein in the supplement from being broken down. What does that mean? All of that protein can be used for improving muscle health and function, as opposed to being converted, for example, over to carbohydrates or glucose. So those are a lot of the ways that Keto S Pro are different from every other supplement on the market.